The dressing room felt managers showed no empathy and were hurt by his public criticism. We felt that.
What's it called? It's the Arsenal game.
Calling people lazy.
Lazy. Like, calling the collective lazy, that was... That for me was just the...
Do you remember when Mourinho said that the players betrayed his work? I think it was against Leicester, his last game, hit the second time around. And he said something to the effect of, the players betrayed my work. That was almost the same thing of calling them lazy, and that would then create the palpable discord that Michael Omanolo spoke about. So, yeah. Calling out players' professionalism on like a mass scale.
That's crazy.
I understand why Lampard did it, because that's the type of player he was somebody who worked hard and ran a lot and always in the right place at the reason he scored that amount of goals is because he was willing to run from 20 meters out into the 6-yard box to get his tap-ins, and you would do that continually and continually and continually. I'm willing to track the runner. I'm willing to do this. Like, Frank Lampard's whole thing was work ethic. Do you remember his comments about Paul Pogba? Where he was like,
flicks and tricks.
But he was like, Pogba was more skilled than I was. Like, he had more on the ball talent than I did. But his whole point is, there are players in the game who are better than me technically, but I was willing to run hard and work harder than them. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. You know that saying? So that's Lampard's ethos. That's where he comes from. Like, people called him Fat Frank, and people gave me jobs because of my uncle, because of my father, because of this, because of that. Well, I'm gonna prove to you that it's not just the name on the back of my shirt that's gotten me where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna try. Like, he's just a try hard. Like all the stories you hear about, he spent hours after training doing his free kicks and running shuttles and just doing all of this training. Like, that's where he comes from. It's why players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, who might not train as well, aren't going to get in the team over Mason Mount. Like us, we might be like, bro, why are you not playing the baller? Play him. But I'm going to go with the guy who works.
Which is why, as I said, I never rated Lampard as a player. Like, he was never impressive to me.
He's not flash.
Because that's why whenever people did Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, I always said that it goes Scholes, Gerrard, then Lampard.
That's why your favorite England player is Joe Cole.
Yeah. Because, for me, he was just the best technically. Just as far as a footballer, was the best. So Lampard for me was like, his big thing was the amount of goals that he scored. And he was very consistent, But as far as just like a footballer, he never really impressed me. But regards just like your talent as a player.
And this is where his lack of managerial experience came to hurt him. If you're with Derby County and you are dealing with players who, that's what we're supposed to do. Like, it's a championship level club. Yeah. Most of us aren't technically gifted. All we have, generally speaking, is our ability to work hard and run and just be diligent. Then that works. But when you're dealing with top flight players in a big club like Chelsea, it's not all about you can't just say run hard, work hard. Like that's not it's not a panacea to all the solutions.
Basically, when you look at Ziyech and Kai Havertz, you need to give me something more than just run hard. What is my rule? What is my instruction? What's
right?
What are the triangles? What do you want me to do psychologically, mentally? There are certain things you need to say. There's a certain footballing language you need to relate to me for me to try and say, aha, I get what you want. You can't just say, hey, run more.
But
like to a Ziyech or a Havertz, then like, what do you mean by run more? That makes no sense.
When I outline that, is there any surprise why the captain of his last game was the captain of his last game?
I'll tell you why he was the captain of his last game.
Do you think he knew and he just wanted to get him
100%. He knew. Like he was like, okay, this is my last game. This is most like my last game, and this is my perfect chance to sort of say, hey, this was what I was about. I was about this kid, Mason Mount, who I saw myself in him. And that ultimately is what led to his downfall.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So, yeah, he did that because he knew. He knew that he was gone.
Point number 10. Lampard would have walked out had he been working for any other club than #Chelsea. I don't know if I agree with that one.
Walked out.
Meaning,
So,
meaning
it's
he would have resigned.
Yeah, so my thing is that this obviously shows that there was a lot of issues.
10 issues, at least.
Yeah.
Although some of these are connected, so it's less than 10. But Simon Jordan. Did you see what he said?
Oh, no, I don't care what that guy says, man.
But yeah, I don't think Lampard's pride would allow him to resign. I think I think there's a thing of kind of wanting to go out on your shield. If I could take it back to like Sparta, I think it was, who like their warriors always went out on their shield. Like there was no surrender, no retreat, all that kind of stuff. Just we just stand and fight until the end. I think that's probably what Lampard's mindset is. I don't think he was willing, because if he loves the club as much as he says he does, then resigning would have been the smart thing to do a month ago. But he wanted to make it work, and that's
because resigning is admitting that you're not very good. You're a failure.
Now,
he never wanted to.
Before you read this man's
that.
tweets, on a scale, I don't even know if you can scale 1 to 10 this, but the idea that, okay, Rudiger goes to the board and says something to the effect of Lampard needs to go. All right, so let's say he somehow finds Roman Abramovich. He has the number to his phone on his yacht, and he calls him up and says, "Yo, Roman, Lampard has to leave, man. This thing's not working." You think Roman Abramovich is like, "Oh, okay, Tony, I'm going to do exactly what you say." Thank you, Tony, for your brilliant insight into the dressing room. Thank you so much. Your information here is going to be overwhelmingly instructive in the future of Chelsea Football Club. Thank you so much. Click. And then Big Frank Lampard comes and calls the same number and says, "Yeah, boss, I think I need more time." Woo. Like, who do you think Roman Abramovich is going to listen to, honestly? Rudiger or Frank Lampard? The idea that Antonio Rudiger has the manager's life in his hands and he can just go thumbs up, thumbs down, and that's the decision. Like we're watching Gladiator. No! The idea that Antonio Rudiger decided or made this happen, leave me out of that one.
No. For me, no. Look. So you saying that, like, you saying that is maybe if you're relating to people who don't have a brain. Anybody with half a brain, and I mean half a brain, will realize that Rudiger played no part in Lampard's sacking.
No, I didn't say he played no part. I think he played us a part. But he's not the deciding factor as if he needs to be banished.
I'll say it again. Rudiger played no part in Lampard's sacking. The main thing, that's just like extra sauce just to build up like a whole package of things. He played no actual parts in his sacking. This was about bad performance, bad results. The team isn't going, the team lacks direction. Simple as that.
Imagine being Kovacic, like your player of the season, and now you're fighting to get into the 11. But like, do you think Kovacic calls the same number? Hey, Roman, man, he needs to go. Thank you, Matteo. Like he's
wait. Let's just read what this guy says. Let's read what this guy says. So it says, this is from Simon Phillips. Obviously, it's like a Chelsea insider then. Antonio Rudiger is understood to have clashed with Cesar Azpilicueta on more than one occasion, as Chelsea's captain attempted to ease tensions between players at Chelsea's Coburn training ground. Now, can we press rewind? Play. Man City versus Chelsea.
League Cup Final 2018.
League Cup Final 2018.
Or it would have been 2019.
Yeah. Well,
2019.
Would have just the League Cup Finals. Fine. Sorry. Hey, I have a expert penalty saver here. You, dude, are making a substitution. Yes, I am the manager and making a substitution. I'll repeat that again. I'm the manager and making a substitution. Can you, there between the sticks, can you please kindly come off so I can bring on a penalty kick taker? Hey, you know what? The same thing was done by a guy called Louis van Gaal, where he brought on Tim Krul. And you know what?
World Cup, by the way.
In one World Cup, and Holland ended up winning that penalty
shootout. Not some Mickey Mouse trophy.
With Krul. So, Kepa is like, no.
Nah.
Sorry,
Sorry, bro.
your number is up. You're
No
off.
comprende. No
And
comprende.
Kepa says no. And there is a back and forth. Now, in this situation, this is where your leader, the
As
captain, comes in and says, Kepa, get your ass off right now.
in
and
his
you berate
native
him
tongue,
and say you could have
in
answered
his
right.
native tongue, whatever the Basque dialect is.
You're both
Get
Spanish.
your fucking ass.
Get
off the
your
pitch.
ass. Your name has come up. You're substitute. You can't just say no. So you come off and you're coming off now. Now you can throw a strap and go up on the coat down. You come off, but no, he was nowhere to be found. He hid. And David Luiz was the guy that was really remonstrating and so forth. It was at that moment that I said, this guy is not a leader. Now, when you're a captain, the qualities you must have to be a captain is either you are loved or you're respected. Someone like Lam, he doesn't need to say much. He doesn't shout that much, but you can tell that guy is respected. I don't believe Azpilicueta is respected by the entirety of the
I
Chelsea
think
group.
he's captain because he tries hard.
He tries hard
and
and he
managers
spends
like
a long time there.
Yeah, he's a piece of furniture at this point. He's been there since 2013 or 2012, 2013, I think. Right after they won the Champions League, and he tries hard. He's somebody who's willing to run. Again, he's like Lampard if Lampard was a right back. So it makes sense why Mourinho loves him. Conte would love him as a right-sided center back. Sarri would play him.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what's funny? I just remember that story. I remember, and I think it was Rudiger. An interview with Rudiger, because you know how I do this whole interviews with the players and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was Rudiger where they're talking to. It's Rudiger and is it Tammy or someone? I can't remember. It's him and an English player that I think black English player that is of Chelsea.
Callum,
But basically,
maybe?
I can't remember. But basically,
It's like a Chelsea TV thing.
yeah. So
I think
basically,
it might be Callum.
yeah.
but-
So basically, they ask Rudiger like just about stuff, and they just ask him, I think, about who's the worst dressed. And then he says that, you know what, Azpilicueta wears his trousers really high up. And he's just imitating how he wears his trousers really high up and he always tucks them in and so forth. So I'm just thinking that, you see,
They got beef.
yeah, you see, no. I'm just thinking that because you just take that as like a little footnote there and you say, you know what? I think that Rudiger is very well liked in that Chelsea crew.
I was about to get to this point.
So
Because
let me just
Yeah.
So I think Rudiger is very well liked. I think Zuma is very well liked, and you know everyone loved David Luiz.
Yep.
I don't believe Azpilicueta is a guy that everyone is like, hey, Cesar is the guy, we really go to him, and so forth.
He's a leader by example, I think.
Yeah, like
But he's not like, hey, come to my house kind of guy.
that's see for me, like you see someone like you could argue that Lam is a leader by example because he is very consistent, his quality and so forth. But I think that for someone like Lam, he's respected. I think people just respect the entire dressing room, both for Germany and Bayern, would respect a Lam. I don't think the same you can say for an Azpilicueta. You know, so I think that this Rudiger clashing with Azpilicueta, people would say, "Yo, Rudiger, how could you clash with the captain?" Is he the captain? Is he?
See, for me, and I would even say this to an extent. It's weird at Chelsea, actually. I don't think the captain has ever really been the captain. So Terry was the captain. He wore the armband. Drogba was the de facto leader of that team. Meaning, I remember, like, do you remember the celebrations when they won the FA Cup? I think in 2012, and they had the music on.
Yeah.
And Drogba was dancing, and he was dancing with David Luiz.
Oh yeah.
And the whole team was kind of in on it, and there were that to me is the kind of leadership that I want to see, where like an old person can connect with a young person, different cultures, different languages, but but that kind of gravitational leadership quality, that's what I want to see, because that's what a team needs. It's always good to have a leader on the pitch, someone who can talk to the referee and be the example and shout, line up, move, all of this kind of stuff.
Wait, real quick, I'll let you pass real quick, because if I forget. So I say, to that point, my Croatian friend from my office colleague, he said that Modric, because he actually knew the Croatian players like growing up, he said Modric was the captain's armband. The leader of that team is Mandzukic.
Yes.
So the captain's thing is not necessarily the true leader. of the teams that the spiritually the guy that everyone gravitates to is Mandzukic.
Think,
but Modric just wears the armband.
And that put something in my head because who did Croatia play in the World Cup final? They played France. Lloris wears the armband, but who was the person in the dressing room who was
Pogba.
talking? It was Pogba. Pogba was actually he was the de facto leader of that team. But what I want to say is the 90 minutes that we see every week, or 180 depending on how many games your team plays, that is such a small amount of time that these people spend together. That's the culmination. That's what we see because it's broadcasted. But the training sessions, the cool downs, the lunches, and the traveling, and all that kind of stuff, that is far more time than what they spend on the pitch. Just to fly to some place like Krasnodar probably takes more time than what it takes to play the game. So those are the people that you're around a lot. So you'll notice, hey, the Francophone people are together, the English guys are together, the Spanish people are together. What was interesting for me last season was Rudiger. There was nobody who was German in the team last season. He was the only guy that didn't have like a little house that he could go to, you know? So, and I think it had been that way for a while because you had like, you know, Willian and Emerson, David Luiz, you know, they had their little Brazilian clique. Even Jorginho, who's obviously he's Italian, but Brazilian by birth. They had their little clique. Then you had the Francophone people of, you know, Zuma, Kanté, Giroud, Batshuayi when he was in the team, Hazard when he was in the team. They had their little clique and crew. Then you have the English guys who are always together and whatnot. Where does Rudiger go? He has to find, who do I connect with? Like, let me go speak with different people and make friends different places. There's no natural place for him to go. So you would always see him in like the videos that Chelsea would release or that you would see just kind of like Instagram footage or whatnot. He's pranking, he's making jokes, he's having fun. He's like the class clown almost because there's no natural click for him. So I'm trying to find my place in this team. And I think in that effort, if you've ever been the new kid somewhere and there's no real home for you necessarily in what this is, you have to go out of your way to make friends and just be a kind of a gregarious person in that way, just like a fun person to be around. And I think in that kind of pursuit of him trying to find himself in this team, as it were, he probably does have more relationships with people, and he probably is more friendly and affable and amiable than Cesar Azpilicueta, who's always just had, hey, let me just hang out with who are there's a bunch of Spanish people, Alonso, Pedro, Fabregas at a time, like they had their own little clique. So, but Rudiger never had that until recently, probably, where he could hang out with Werner, Havertz. Hell, he'll be able to hang out with the manager now. But I do think that plays a part. And if we're real, I said this. I don't know when I said this. I hope I said this at the time. I don't know if I did say this at the time. But there's a reason why Lampard was, I got to get this David Luiz guy to fuck up out of here, man.
Oh, obviously.
I got to get him the fuck out of here. Because if I don't remove him, instead of that name on the screen that we're seeing right now, Rudiger is understood to have clashed, or Rudiger was it would be David Luiz. And I would believe it in that sense because
for sure.
Because David Luiz, for me, that scene where I don't even know what dance they were doing. It's probably something from Ivory Coast, but Drogba was doing it and Luiz was doing it with him. I was like, this is the passing of the torch. This is Drogba, who's in his last season at Chelsea. I didn't know he would come back, but this is him passing the leadership torch, that actual leadership, that like groupness, whatever that ethos is. That's him passing it to David Luiz in that moment. That's what I felt. And then obviously Mourinho came and they sent him to PSG. He came back and he's always just been himself. But yeah, Lampard saw that in Luiz and I got to get him out. Maybe he didn't understand Rudiger probably had that same thing in him.
So listen to the rest of the episode. Click the link below in the description box, as well as all the previous episodes, to listen to the Talking Tactics podcast, which drops every Tuesday with me and your boy Danny T.